Hello everybody. Today I think we should talk about something that I get asked all the time. In fact, it's probably the most common question I get from singers, but also from producers who are doing sessions. So a big part of being a producer is being able to get the best performance you can out of the musicians who are working with you. It's not just about the technical side of it, okay? So today I want to talk about how to record the perfect pop vocal. And some of this is singer specific, so as a producer you need to be checking that the singer's doing this. Some of this is producer specific. If you're a singer-songwriter or you're someone who writes and records yourself at home, this will be really useful for you, I promise. It goes without saying that some of these points are probably going to seem a little bit obvious. You'll be like really obviously I'm doing that, but maybe you're not doing it quite in this way, and also there are some little tips I'll give you along the way that will really help you out, and I think will raise the level of your vocals from good to really, really great. So let's get into this. Number one, the first thing that I think you should recommend to your singer to do, or if you're a singer you should do, is vocal warm-ups. So this is one of those things that you hear all the time, like if you're a singer you should be doing your warm-ups, but I don't know many singers who do, and you can definitely tell. I think the sessions that I remember as being, really professional and thinking, blimey, that vocalist was really shit hot today, are ones where they've warmed up before coming to the session, ideally, or two, they take 5-10 minutes at the start of the session and do their warm-ups then before they go and start recording their vocals. Your voice is a muscle, and if you don't warm it up, it's going to sound closed and tight in exactly the same way as if you were to go and play a sports match before warming up the muscles you're going to use. So please watch some videos on YouTube, ask some of your singer pals how they do their warm-ups, and there's nothing to be ashamed of doing them. Yes, they're silly, yes, they're embarrassing, and they do sound dumb. It's like and all that stuff. But if you do them, you're gonna get a better performance out of yourself, and that's before you've even got the mic out of the box and any of that stuff. It's just gonna make your song sound better. Please warm up. Number two is please try and use an appropriate microphone. Now, this is a little bit more producery because I get that a lot of people don't have the luxury of choosing a microphone, but you do have the luxury of choosing which microphone you buy first. So I wouldn't recommend you buy a dynamic microphone if you're going to be using it to record your voice at home. I'm going to do a whole video on what's the difference between dynamic microphones and condenser microphones. I'm going to do that at another time. So you're probably going to want a condenser microphone. Now, this is a condenser microphone. This is an AKG 414, 414. And the reason you know it's condenser is if you look inside, you can see it's got like a gold plated circular thing on both sides on this one, but some have only got it on the one. That's a condenser microphone. A dynamic microphone works a little bit differently. You're probably going to want one of these if you're recording your voice at home, because generally they're going to sound a lot better for detailed recordings that you're going to be doing, rather than a live context where dynamic mics tend to be the better choice. If you're a beginner and you're looking at what equipment to buy, click up at the top here. I've done a whole video on the best beginner gear, and that will definitely be useful for you. Step number 3. You need to make sure you're setting the gain right on your audio interface. A lot of the time when I get vocals off singers to mix that they've recorded themselves at home, the vocal track looks like this, or even worse, it looks like this. Both of those are pretty much unusable. The quiet one is definitely better, but it means that it's going to be really noisy when I turn it up really loud. And the loud one that's clipping is very much unusable because it's got really horrible noises in it because it was recorded too loud. You want your audio file to look like this when you're recording into your DAW. This isn't something I can tell you, set it at number 6, number 10 or whatever. You need to trial and error it with your mic and with your voice, and make sure that at the loudest sections it's nowhere near peaking, but at the quieter sections it's still visible. It's not like a flat line. So make sure you take some time to set your gain up properly, and it will make sure that the whole recording process is better and that your song sounds better at the end of the production process. I've said process about 100 times. Step number 4. You're going to need a pop shield. This one is by a company called Aston. It is exceptional. I would recommend this to anyone, but it is a little bit more expensive than your really basic ones. I think it's not much, it's like 20 quid or something. Essentially, a pop filter stops your mic sounding poppy. I've done an example before, I'll do it now. I can't remember what I said last time, but something like, proud policemen push people. And then with the pop shield, proud policemen push people. Can you hear the difference? With the pop shield, it sounds far less poppy, And like when you go on your plosives, like your S's, your T's, your P's, and your F's, it's going to sound a lot more pleasant. You can make these DIY. If you've got a wire coat hanger and a pair of tights, just wrap it around. Even a sock could do. Thin materials tend to be better. You can buy cloth versions of these. You can buy metal ones. You can buy metal ones with cloth on the inside and outside. I think that one's by SE. They're all kind of the same, to be honest. I prefer the sound of a metal one. I think the cloth ones get a little bit duller, but it really doesn't matter. You're not going to notice the difference for the most part. The reason I recommend this Aston one is when you bend it, it doesn't lose its shape. Most of the pop shields I've used in studios, you put them up and then they go like this. And that's really irritating. This Aston one is really sturdy. Okay, step 5 is going to be quite difficult for some people. I mean, it's quite difficult for me, to be honest with you. This is my living room, and through that door is my studio. I work at home, my studio's at home. You know, the one you've seen in all the videos I've done before. And that means it's difficult to have a treated space like in a normal recording studio. There are some ways we can get around this. So in my house, I have this under the stairs room with the fridge and the washing machine. It's also got all the coats hanging in there. Thankfully, the coats make really good acoustic treatment for that room. I've also put these panels up, which don't really do much, to be honest with you, but they do make it look like a more professional space when I have people in to record. And they do reduce some reflections, but not a great deal. I only have them because I had leftover push and pluck foam, so I wouldn't have bought them, to be honest with you. The best way to make an acoustically treated space at home, honestly, that I've seen, is to open the doors of your wardrobe, hang a duvet over the top of the wardrobe, and then put your mic inside and sing into that. Again, it's not going to be perfect. It'll sound a little bit funky and quite boxy, but it's going to be way better than recording in like your living room like this with like all the echoes and stuff that you get in a normal room. The reason you want your recording to be as dead as possible, like no noise, as dead as possible, is because when we compress your audio, we're going to bring up the noises that you can't hear straight away. And a lot of those noises are going to be the room noises that you get when you just record in a room, so the natural reverb of the room. And you don't really want that because then your vocal starts to sound really messy. Another way to do it if you have spare mic stands is to hang a duvet over the mic stands and sing into that instead. One thing to bear in mind is where you hang the duvet, because if you're singing into a microphone like this, most of the sound is going to go, bounce back, and then this side will reject the sound on most mics. Like this isn't going to record this way, it's only going to record this way. So it's going to bounce off this wall and then bounce back into the mic. So you're probably going to want to hang the duvet behind you to stop the reflections coming back in from this side. Okay, next, step 6. Okay, this isn't going to be an insult to you as a singer, it's not an insult to anyone I've ever recorded with, but you need to record a load of different takes of every section of your song. Maybe you want it to just be like a one-take acoustic vibe, but if you want to, you know, get the best take possible, particularly for a pop vocal, you're going to want to do multiple takes of the verse, pre, chorus, mid-late. The reason we do lots of takes is because when we get to the comping stage, if you don't know what comping is, you can watch my video up there, it'll show you everything you need to know about it. When we get to the comping phase, we want to make sure we've got options. Maybe you said a certain word clearer in this take, but then you said the next word better in this take. So we're going to put them together and make the perfect take from those 2 different recordings. Recording takes isn't a bad thing. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong in the first take, but as you go through the recording process, you'll realize that actually you can't pay attention to every word and every detail every time you do a recording. So by doing multiple takes, it increases your chances of getting that perfect whole recording all the way through. Finally, and probably most crucially to getting your final pop song sound, is recording double takes or doubles. I've also done a whole video on my double process, which is now going to be linked up here if you click there. That'll talk you through how I do my doubles, the different kinds of doubles we can record, and how to get that really wide, focused sound on your pop vocal. The reason we record doubles is one vocalist is never going to cut through a mix in the same way as 10 vocalists can. But maybe you don't want a choir sound, you still want it to sound like one singer, but it isn't one singer because you've got all these other voices. Doubles enable you to do that, and if they're mixed properly and slotted in nicely, you won't even be able to tell that there are other vocalists there. It'll still sound like one singer, but it's going to punch right through. It's going to sound really strong compared to just one voice on its own. Anyway, that's it. Just to recap. Okay, so make sure you're doing your warm-ups, using appropriate microphones, most likely a condenser, that you set your gain right on your audio interface, that you use a pop shield to reduce the noise of plosives on the microphone, that you use as dead a room as possible, make that with duvets or with pillows or however you can, hanging your coat rack in there, whatever it takes, try and get a nice dead recording, and finally, learn how to do vocal doubles really well, and it will improve the quality of your songs tenfold, I promise. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you really did, please click the like button. It really helps me promote the channel. And also 80% now of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. That is kind of good news because it means that people are watching and enjoying these videos, but I've got loads and loads of content on my channel and loads more to come. So please click subscribe if you're not already, because there's tons more content coming out. I think I'm doing like 3 videos a week at the minute. So there's going to be some stuff. If there's any videos you want to see, please drop them down in the comments and I'll make sure to do a whole video on whatever you suggest because I want to help you guys out more than anything. And I'll see you on Tuesday for my next video. Cheers.